Hello, my name is Joseph Arnold, and today I'm going to be sharing with you an excerpt from my upcoming book, Soulforce Arts, the vital role of musicians and other artists in a world that's lost its mind. So, this book is about how to make world-changing art, how to increase your expressive power, and become more vital and well in yourself, relieving injuries and anxiety, performance anxiety and inner critic, and as well as addressing the global problems and social ills of our time, including climate change. And this is one of the kind of unique points of my book. Like, what is ours to do as musicians and artists about climate change? Is there anything we can do? So there are answers, and they're in my book, some of them at least. And so I'm also raising money to help pay for all the self-publishing costs, editing and a new website and all that kind of thing. I'll have the link to Kickstarter below. So please do consider donating. It ends on October 19th, I believe, of 2022, and I want to raise at least $3,600. So I've made a little progress so far the first couple days, but please do consider donating, and you'll get some great perks for doing so. Okay, so enough of that. I'm going to start reading from one of my chapters on wellness for artists. So I have a couple quotes here. One from Krishnamurti: "It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society." So the first section is called, "Can a happy artist be a great artist?" And I have two more quotes here. One is, "Life is truly known only to those who suffer, lose, endure adversity, and stumble from defeat to defeat." That's by Anais Nin, who is an author. Another quote, a very different character. Quote, "Let us build a happy little cloud which floats around in the sky." I bet you can guess who that was. Bob Ross, the painter who did his TV show a long time ago. Okay, here we go. "There is a common debate about the kinds of life circumstances that produce great art. Can happy, well-adjusted people create great art, or is it only those who have had the most difficult lives? In the story of the struggling artist, difficult life circumstances are seen as beneficial to the creative process because they often call upon our innermost reserves of resourcefulness and creativity in ways that can be profoundly transformative, both personally and artistically. And indeed, we see much strife, pain, and turmoil in the lives of many of the greatest artists throughout history, and can draw certain connections between their pain and their art. On the other hand, the story of the well artist says that the creative inspiration to be found in joy and love is every bit as great, if not greater, than that to be found in pain. And furthermore, that not all great artists throughout history have been tortured souls. It also says that letting ourselves fully feel and express joy and love can be just as difficult, transformative, and generative a process as plumbing the depths of our pain. To the story of the struggling artist, the story of the well artist is Pollyanna-ish and naive. In part, this comes from the wounded parts of ourselves that carry cynicism as a shield against the potential pain of the vulnerability inherent in true joy, love, and innocence. In its mature form, however, this cynicism has wisdom in it. Recalling the Krishnamurti quote above, it says that we live in a culture where fake happiness is everywhere, and that fakeness is antithetical to art that has any power to move us. To the story of the well artist, the story of the struggling artist fetishizes suffering and too easily gets lost in an existential maze of darkness and navel-gazing. Its more mature form rebels at this, knowing, like the tantric masters of yore, that pleasure and joy can lead quite directly to liberation. Quote, "Yes, suffering is powerful," the story says, "but have you ever dropped 400 milligrams of LSD and had every atom of your being be annihilated by God's love for 10,000 eternities?" Yeah, I didn't think so. Who's right here? As usual, such polarized conversations mask the ways in which they share certain truths. In this case, one shared truth is that personal growth leads to great art. No matter the circumstances or valence of the artist's experience. These two stories also share an underlying wish for well-being and joy. I believe that even the cynicism of the story of the struggling artists belies a hidden wish for an experience of the fullest expression of love, innocence, and intimacy. You could ask your own cynical parts. What would happen? What would I hope to happen if I were to really struggle and suffer for my art? What would I get at the end of that struggle? If you listen closely, you may end up finding your own version of a happy little cloud and lots of happy trees, although you may also discover a more mature, soulful version of this. And if you grow as a person and become a great artist, either way, wouldn't it be nice to choose the path of joy and pleasure? I invite you to recall my central thesis statement from the introduction to this book. Quote, "My core thesis is that centering heart, meaning, purpose, well-being, soulfulness, fluidity of bodily movement, joy, and a radically holistic point of view in general is absolutely critical to the fullest flowering of your expressive power, creative direction, life satisfaction, and to the well-being of the world at large." End quote. At the center of this lies soul force, which in this context can be defined as what happens when you act in ways that affirm well-being, love, and wholeness, despite the overwhelming and contrary messages and incentives that come from our civilization as a whole. From this perspective, when you focus on your well-being, you increase your ability to face life's challenges, whether personal, artistic, relational, or ecological, from a place that is in alignment with the ultimate goal of the celebration and regeneration of life on Earth. Thus, your physical, emotional, intellectual, energetic, and spiritual well-being are coincident with the well-being of the world overall, and are precisely what allows your creative magic, aka soul force, to flow. In light of all this, my overall invitation to you is that you consciously grow and evolve into you 2.0, because the world desperately needs you to show up in all your fullness and glory. All right, so that's the opening to my chapter on well-being for artists and musicians, a chapter where I cover performance anxiety and inner critic and musculoskeletal injuries like carpal tunnel syndrome and back pain and TMJ and things like that, how to address and recover from all these things. And that's one aspect of what I call being a Soulforce artist. And that's really what my book is about. It's how to get in touch with and uncover and develop your soul force as an artist so that you can make world-changing art. Because, boy, the world needs it, you know? And I need your help in publishing this book. I'm self-publishing, and it costs a lot to do all this, and I'm hoping to raise at least $3,600 to cover editing and new website and design, other things, and I'm hoping to raise even more money than that so I can get professional marketing help and to buy actual copies of the book so I can sell them at events. And in order to do all that, I need your help. So please consider donating at the link below. And I'll see you soon.